Hello everyone, this is El Viejo Toro live in the Zen Studios. I wanted to do a follow-up video to my Switch presentation where I don't know if I was unkind about the Switch and or Nintendo, but did an analysis that wasn't necessarily favorable about the Switch. And I've been watching a lot of information dropped and the Switch presentation video dropped. And I've been watching a lot of content from a lot of YouTubers, from, moderate, pro Switch, anti-Switch, mild Switch, tepid Switch, whatever it was. Anti-Switch, pro Switch, con Switch, every Switch way but loose. I've been looking at the information that's come out. Never touch your face on TV. So, and something struck me. And I wish I remember the exact video. And I'm going to go back and look. And if I find it, I'm going to annotate it or list the link in this video. There's been a lot of talk about, is Nintendo a game company or a console company? And I think that is what kind of has me, like, that's a piece of it. And then there's another piece of the puzzle. And the smoking gun, if I can use it that way, the smoking light gun of the Switch is, there are a couple things to remember. They're almost like Nintendo commandments. The first Nintendo commandment is we want to make a significant profit off of our hardware. We want to make, and remember this, just keep this in your mind, because I know it sounds odd, well, of course they want to make a profit, of course. Most companies, Microsoft, Sony, do not make any upfront money off their consoles. Sony, the PS3, one of the biggest consoles ever, all right? They made no money on it. They lost money on it. It was a net loss. If that machine was the only thing that they had to make profit and continue their company, Sony would not exist today. They've still lost money on it. Okay? They make money on the software, licensing the games and the software from these developers that you buy for $60 and $50 and all of this premium money that they get off of licensing these games. That's where the profit center is. That's where the profit center is. The original Xbox never made money. The original Xbox, the machine itself, never drew a profit. It drew a singular profit on the release day of Halo 2 because people were buying the machine and buying the bundles, etc., etc. Single day profit that thing cleared the expense to manufacture, deliver, ship, gather materials, assemble, etc. One single day in the life of that console. Microsoft, particularly Microsoft, doesn't care. Microsoft machines are basically are PCs. And that's what you have to understand too. That's a whole nother topic. We've left traditional consoles behind. You haven't had a traditional console, a real traditional console, prior to the DREAMCAST. That was console world. And even with the Sega Saturn, with the expandable RAM, that's a PC thing. Consoles are typically self-contained. They might have the expansion port, or they might play games with stuff and peripherals and things. But it's a self-contained unit. And the games are self-contained. They don't require updates. They are finished. They are what they are. They're ROMs. They're read-only. Done. Okay? What struck me with the Switch, now I eschewed the Wii U, I'm sorry, I have a Wii. I eschewed the Wii U. The Wii itself was more of a console than the Wii U, and now the Switch. The smoking gun is the 32 gig of space. Where do we typically hear of like 16, 32, 64, these tiers in the mobile world? You get, I mean, look at iPhone. Who is the Switch really competing with? We're asking the wrong question. See, and Nintendo doesn't say a word about it because they're like, you know what? If you want to perceive this as a console, fine, go ahead. They're not competing with Microsoft and Sony. You think they're competing with console, not even console, hybrid PC gaming machines. They're really PC gaming machines is what they are. They're not consoles. You stop calling them consoles. They're not consoles. They're PC game boxes. They're custom PC game boxes. Well, not custom because they're mass produced, but it's, you know, they're mass produced gaming PCs. Gaming dedicated PCs. That's what they are. They have all the same ports. They have web connectivity. What is the major difference between just a middle of the road gaming tower, gaming PC, and a PS4? You can change the hard drive, right? You've got USB ports. You've got an Ethernet port. You've got a card reader. You got, what do you? I mean, and you're hooking it up to a monitor. I mean, what else? It plays discs, apps, TV on it. I mean, it's a dedicated entertainment PC. That's what it is. A console is the NES. A console is the Sega Genesis. These are consoles. And the only thing that we get that's close to a console is the plug and plays. These little, at games or, whoever, these little plug and play things, those are consoles. They take cartridges, they've got a fixed number of games on them, they've got a little controller kit, and off you go, and it is what it is. The Switch at 32 gig in the next generation, they literally took the Wii, which is more of a traditional console. I mean, it's more of a console than any other console was of that generation. The 360 and the PS3 are dedicated gaming PCs or entertainment PCs, whatever you want to call them. Entertainment PC is probably because you online game, which was typically PC only. Remember that? You didn't used to, again, LAN parties and stuff like that, but you used to play online on PC. That technology developed there, and that's why Microsoft kind of stepped in and said, okay, it's evolving. Gamers want to play in connectivity. We have the software, the front end and the backbone and all this stuff. We understand all that. We want in. And they created one of the first hybrid consoles, of which the DREAMCAST was a prototype. I've done a video about this. And they had the dedicated entertainment PC, web connectivity, game online, Microsoft Live. That was the distillation of PC coming into the whole and really taking over for consoles. That's why Dreamcast failed. It was too console, not enough. It was, again, futuristic, not quite where it needed to be. Microsoft knew it. Microsoft stole that stuff. I've talked about it at length. All right? The Switch is not a console. The Switch is a mobile platform competing with Apple and Android. Biggest game in a long time, Nintendo, Pokemon Snap's mobile only. And they're gonna put that on the Switch. They'll put Pokemon Snap on the Switch. Because you can walk around and again, but Nintendo is pissed because that game is on mobile systems. That is where they are competing. The Switch is not competing with this. it's competing with this. Okay? It is not a console that is going up, and you know, this really should answer all the angst. Answer all the angst of, oh, it's underpowered, it's this, it's that. It's designed to be, it's supposed to be. It's a mobile platform that's got a TV hookup. I mean, if you have a television adapter for your iPad, or you plug in your iPad so you can watch it on the TV, that's exactly what that is. They're just giving you a piece of hardware for it. It is a Nintendo mobile platform. And if they sell enough of them, they'll go exclusive and you won't be able to get their stuff on Apple. You probably still would. That money is ridiculous. But it's a lot of times it doesn't seem Nintendo cares. But again, a lot of people say, oh, they're a toy company, they're not a game company. They are a game company, but they are a they have a toy-based mentality. That scarcity stuff that they pull is for toys. They don't, you know, again, Sony will manufacture 100,000 units and make sure all their outlets are stocked, just in case anybody wakes up and goes, hey, I want a PS Pro today. Go get one anywhere. I mean, where do you want to go? You want to go to Walmart and get one? You want to go to Target? You want to go to Best Buy? Where do you want to go? It's there. It's ready to go. Because the more units we sell, the more licensing fees that we get off the games. Nintendo wants to make a profit, and again, people forget about this. Nintendo always expects to make a profit on their systems. That's why they're going under the bridge. That's why they're not reaching for the top specs. They're letting Sony and Microsoft play that game. They're not going to get in that mix. They can't do it. They can't compete with those monoliths. What they can do is make a mobile device, and what do you want to bet that the Switch is using recycled Wii U hardware? What do you want to bet the reason for the resolution is the same spec as the Wii U is that they want to save the money that they've lost on producing those units and refitting them and reconfiguring them into the Switch? They can do it. If it's not sold, they can say, oh, well, you know, we're just going to reconfigure, we're just going to retool that. So easy. When I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, they're taking the inventory from the Wii U that didn't sell, and they're just popping it out the guts, putting it in a new thing, sliding those little controllers on there, smashing the Wii and the Wii U together into one Frankenstein's monster. And again, we're not increasing the memory here. We're not increasing the memory. That is the telltale, because you can't run a modern day entertainment PC, which is what they are, with 32 gig. You can run a mobile platform with 32 gig. Apple's doing it right now. I bought my daughter a 32 gig iPad for Christmas. What? See, but even still, Nintendo's trying to pass it off as a console. That's one of those things I don't really appreciate, is that you're calling it you're not really calling it a console. You're just kind of letting people assume it's a console. And it's not a console. That's why, in a way, they protect themselves by always showing it outside. You know, showing a lot of outdoor activities, because if anybody holds a mechanical and go, hey, Nintendo, this isn't a real console. It's not an entertainment center. Again, their online component blows, their marketplace blows. Sony and Microsoft have that stuff wired up for 2 generations. And if you count Microsoft Live, 3 generations. I mean, can we get a what? Nintendo is not selling a console. They are selling a mobile device platform. That's all it is. It is not a console. It is a mobile it is an iPad. It is competing directly with iPad and Android tablets. It is competing with tablets. It is a tablet. It is a tablet that you walk around with, and it's Nintendo specific. And, you know, again, it's designed to be the replacement of their mobile platform. They're quietly stepping out of the console market because, folks, it ain't a console. They're stepping quietly out of the console market. They created a dock, so it gives the perception of a console. So they can ease their way out of the console market after the Wii U. I don't think you understand is that Nintendo's looking at it and going, we have this booming mobile business. It has always been solid. It is the most stable business that we've ever had. It has been consistently good since the Game Boy. It is our cash cow, and it is being whittled away by iPad, Android tablets, all right, mobile devices, phones, okay? What can my phone do? Or what can the Switch do that my phone can't? Oh, you got a custom little $70 controller on there? Good for you. Is that it? Is that it? I've got a cord out there right now that you plug into your phone and you play right on the TV. I turn on the Bluetooth and I have a wireless controller. Boom, I'm on the TV. I've got my wireless controller. What do you want? That's the Switch. And then you got the Wii gimmick. The Wii gimmick's back. Stop calling it a console. It's not a console, it's a mobile device, and that's all it ever is. The 32 gigs is what tells you. They're not competing anymore. They're not making consoles anymore. They're making mobile platforms that you can dock and put on your TV. It's the same thing. It's a mobile platform. People are like, why is the storage so small? Why are the controllers so expensive? Because they expect to make beyond anybody else's money on this type of stuff. Only Nintendo expects to make a significant double-digit profit on their consoles. They want 25 to 40 points on their consoles, which in electronics is ridiculous. If you're making, like I said before in another video, in my other Nintendo video, electronics, you make 5%, you're like, okay, you're doing 10, well, maybe we'll try to get 6 or 8%. If you're doing 10% on any piece of electronics, Blu-ray player, phone, anything, if you're making 10%, you're doing just fine. You're in the mid-tier. You make anything above 10% in electronics, 15% or whatever, you're doing amazing. Amazing. Again, the margins are very slim. That's why they advertise heavy. That's why they try to get everybody addicted to it. That's why they turn it into a status advertisement, because they have to sell the units. They have to sell a massive amount of units. Then they can have profit from it. But it's all about the media or whatever is that device is a transport medium for. So if it's movies or if it's data or whatever, the pictures, it doesn't matter. Music, etc. Again, that's why they're made in China with slave labor, everybody. Dang, quit fooling yourself. China, slave labor. That's why they're made over there, because they have to keep, that's why they're willing to have them made over there, train the people over there, have them put on a boat and sent over here just to stock them on a shelf. They sail them across the freaking ocean to get 5 more points out of it. Or 2 points, believe it, believe it. Nintendo is the only company out there, and that's a toy mentality. Toys want to make a heavy margin. Toys want to have their stuff made in Mexico and China with lead-based paint and God knows what else. Because they can sell you a $25.99 Lego set, or give me something else. Action figure, a plastic extruded action figure on a blister on a paper card, okay? they're going to sell it to you for $9.99. It costs them 15 cents, 25 cents to make. I mean, what's the margin on that? 100 million %? I'm serious, man. Maybe it's 45 cents. Maybe it's $1. It isn't, but let's call it $1. They're making $8 on the dollar. $8. That's the kind of profiteering or profiting that goes on in the toy industry. Not in the electronics industry. Nintendo is a toy-based mentality company that wants to make 30 points on a piece of gaming equipment, which is ridiculous. They probably want 40, 50 points. That's why the thing's $3. They could sell that thing for $1.99. Look at the screen on it. It's a refurbished Wii U screen. It's an identical screen to the Wii U. Coincidence? Come on, man. Come on. So, stop calling it a console. Don't call it a comeback. Don't call it a console. It's not a console. It is a mobile platform. It is a tablet. It's a tablet with a fancy dock and a couple of controllers. And that's all it is. And that's why I probably will not be buying it, because I already have 2 tablets. And there is a gaming tablet from China that's like $1.25. It's like the QPD9 or I forget. I'll put a link in it. Tampa Tech QPD. I think it's QPD or DPQ9, something like that. It is a Android gaming tablet that runs a custom KitKat front end, and it is loaded with emulators, and every game you could possibly imagine is on there. And it's $1.25. It's completely mobile. It looks like a Wii U. It's got the controllers that are right there on it, and they'll drive the interface, and super cool. I'll be picking one of those up. But I'm not going to go pick up a $300 and now if I get an extra set, $400. I told you in my previous Nintendo video, it wasn't going to be $2. Go back and look at it. I'm telling the future here at Fancy Action Now. I said it wasn't be $2. It'll be $3 and then another config or something above, something up in the air that you have to spend another $100. So $4. And then you gotta go buy a micro SD card to throw any memory on the darn thing. And they don't hold up. I mean, look at them. You know how easy it is to damage them? They don't last that long. It's not like you're gonna have it for 5 years or 6 years. I mean, that lifespan on those micro SD cards is a couple of years with heavy use. So there goes your data and your games and your saves and your pictures and your Pokemon and whatever else is on there. The Nintendo Switch is a pad. It is an overpriced proprietary game tablet that they want to make 50 points. I guarantee they want 40 points minimum, 50 points at best on the Switch hardware and on the controllers. And in fact, what might be happening here is they have to do 30 points on the Switch. So they're getting 50 and 60 points on those tiny little controllers. Come on, people. $70. $70. And what is the Pro Controller? What is the Pro Controller? 80? It's 80? Yeah. You get one Pro Controller with that thing. You're into $5. You're into $5 with just the basic peripherals, man. All right, so end of the rant. Now you understand what the Switch truly is and who they are truly competing with. Their mobile business has always been their cash cow and their core business. The console market has always been the extra sauce, the extra channel of revenue, and that's all it's ever been. And all they're doing is passing off a console or passing off an overpriced tablet platform and passing it off as a console. That's what they always done. They just let you believe that they're still making consoles. And if you ask me, the Wii was their last real console, and even so, it was underpowered so that they could profit take and make 40 points. That's why they were so arrogant, because they made so much profit on that Wii. Because they're the only ones that do. They're the only ones that demand a double-digit profit off of their hardware. With that being said, this has been my analysis, my further analysis of the Nintendo Switch and exactly what it is. And I will be over here with the One and the PS4 and whatever else that they go through, because they are competing with PC gamers. The laptop gaming community, the PC gamers, that's their competition and that's their end. Nintendo isn't part of that market. Again, it's hard for the fanboys to admit it. And before I wrap up this video, I was close. The death of Nintendo as a true console maker came when Square was bought out and Square Enix left. Because they were the bookends above and beyond the Nintendo franchises that were the premieres. I mean, they were just like they were the linchpins, and the last time they were around was the N64. And that's when they left cartridges. And that's really when Nintendo as a console maker died. Because they were unwilling to grow into the market as a console maker and went their own way. They told Square Enix, don't come back. We don't want you back. Rare got bought away from them and destroyed because Microsoft doesn't want them going back. That's why they were destroyed. They were destroyed to weaken Nintendo. They weren't bought to get the talent or to get they got the licenses, but they haven't used any of them, really. They were, Microsoft bought Rare, basically bribed them out of Nintendo, and to weaken Nintendo and to keep them out of the market so they weren't a threat. Nintendo knew. I mean, Square Enix left. They bought out Rare. Those were two major pillars of gaming quality for Nintendo. And in their arrogance and their hubris, they turned their back on the market that they helped create. And now, through the same hubris, they're taking the Wii and the Wii U, taking the refurbished elements of that, combining them into a Franken-tablet, and passing it off as a console. That's really when they turned a corner. The N64 was that pivotal move away out of the market. So they're no longer a console company. I think they tried with the Wii U because it was a little bit more powerful. And it had a unique tablet and all that stuff, but it failed. It failed. And now they're going back to mobiles. This is a mobile platform, and that's all it is. That's all the Switch is. That's all it will ever be. It is not powerful enough. It is not, it doesn't have a deep enough memory. Yeah. And it's going to be very expensive to own for lackluster games. EA is not excited about it. Was it Borderlands or one of the other developers was like, nah, we're not. They actually said pretty rudely, we're not dealing with that. So anyway, I think I've covered it with the Switch. You probably won't see, you may or may not see another Switch video out of me, but I really wanted to cover this important point because there's too much discussion of why are they not competing with Microsoft and Sony? Because you got your paradigm shifted wrong. They're not competing with them. They're not. They haven't been. They haven't been for 3 generations. Even 4, if you consider the N64 as the start of that, 4 or 5. I think Adam Carolla was right when they really tried with the GameCube. And again, they stuck to their arrogant hubris business practices and had to go stupid little proprietary discs. So anyway, El Viejo Toro, the Nintendo Switch, the Zen Studios, keep watching, keep gaming. Health to you and your families. Peace out. Fancy action now? What's up? What's going on? It's up.
In Soviet Russia, you don't play video game plays you.